What's up, y'all? Alright, it literally just happened like an hour ago, so I'm going to do the reaction to it. Markets skyrocket after Trump announces 90-day tariff pause. Playing with everybody's emotions. Uh-oh.
There's this misconception that's promoted that
we have major breaking news.
My fault. Anyways, so, yeah, this is 21 minutes. I'm going to react to some of it, give it a little reaction, see what happens. Y'all turn on post notifications, smash the like button, let's go. Let's get right into it.
We have major breaking news in CNN on the global trade war. President Trump just truthed out saying, quote, I have authorized a 90-day pause. The president here announcing a 90-day pause on tariffs, though it's not clear specifically which countries this pause is going to apply to. The Dow right now shooting up over 2,000 points. Look at that as this announcement comes through, a giant spike in the Dow Jones Industrial Average.
Because I want y'all to keep in mind what companies are doing now. See, this is why like a person who has power over the markets has power over everything, right? So all he has to say is 90-day pause. And you know what companies are going to do? They're going to go left and right to try to get their money into places as soon as possible, pull as much things as they can forward in order to get as much profit as they can possible. Market shot up. Yeah. Okay.
This is important as part of the messaging around this post. The president saying that this is based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called the U.S. and try to work out deals with the administration and not try to retaliate for his tariffs. Notably, though, the president is raising the tariff applied to China from the United States to 125% effective immediately. So this pause applies to other countries, not China.
That's right, a 90-day pause on new tariffs except for China, which again goes to 125%, and the markets obviously ebullient they are as they are hearing this news. Let's go to Jeff Zeleny. He is live for us at the White House. This is what he
did it to bite back, because you know what China did? China was smart. When the market opened up, they introduced their tariff. So for Trump to respond to their tariff, said, okay, 90-day pause on all tariffs except China. Now we're going to focus directly on China. I ain't gonna lie, that was smart. That was smart because it raised the markets back up, and the market had one more day before it entered into a bear market. So that was actually really smart. But at the same time, it's like, hopefully, just cancel them all in general. If 75 countries are willingly, I don't know if that's really true or not, but if 75 countries are willing to sit down and negotiate this shit, why don't you just let it go for now, because they're willing to negotiate? That, bring them to the table. You've opened up the door, now people are willing to negotiate. I'm pretty sure Canada will negotiate, Mexico will negotiate. Hell, I'm pretty sure China eventually will negotiate. But, bullying tactics don't work on anybody. Every country is going to do whatever they can to fight back. But again, that was really a good move, what he just did, saying 90-day pause, now let's talk about it. But still, it leaves the looming fact that this could possibly be something in the future. So people need to come to the table and discuss what's going on. This is actually pretty good. Definitely good conversation. You know what I'm saying?
They had been hoping for the markets. They actually kind of imagined it the other day and had a little bit of a jump into positive territory. But this is the announcement from the president, Jeff.
Well, Brianna, that was certainly a test run, but certainly not an intended one to see the markets go up when there was a false report of a pause. But now we are hearing from the president for the first time during this escalating trade war, saying that he is putting a 90-day pause. And you can just see to the right of our screen there what the markets are doing with this. From a policy standpoint, it is a bit more murky. The White House has not filled in any details of this, but we are getting this from the president on social media, as you were reading there, and he is explaining it as adding more to the China tariff pot, which is really growing day by day here, adding another tariff to China, even as he is praising the countries who he said have not retaliated. And those, of course, are the countries who are lining up to have discussions with the Treasury Secretary, with the White House, with the administration on trying to renegotiate. So the president is saying, and let me just read it to you here, he said, the countries who have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause. and substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. So what this would seem to be, and again, we will have to fill in the blanks here, what this would seem to be taking all the countries back to that baseline 10%, if you will, which went into effect last Saturday for most countries, and then, of course, the reciprocal tariffs went into effect at midnight. So the president is putting a pause on those. Of course, this is adding to the policy uncertainty, but you can see what the market is doing. It's adding a bit of certainty to the market. So we're expected to see the president in the next hour here at the White House. We will see if he adds any meat on those bones here, but certainly a significant reaction from the White House. They've been reeling here, watching the financial markets really have a deep negative effect on this. The president has long said, at least during this period, he's not watched the markets. We know, of course, watching him for a long time, he does. And clearly this is something that he's been hearing from Republicans on Capitol Hill, Republican donors, really people who are supportive of his policies, saying it's time for an exit ramp. So that's what it looks like this will be, at least for now, a 90-day pause on those reciprocal tariffs.
Says thousands of things in one moment, right? One thing it says is that, of course, Republicans understood that what he was doing was 1,000% wrong, so we need an extra strategy for what you're doing, right? Now, with that being said, I wonder if anybody is going to realize on all these news networks, whether they're against Trump or with Trump, you know, why don't we just fill his ego for right now? Like, you won the trade war, dude. You got 75%, 75 countries calling you. Most people didn't retaliate. Canada and Mexico have talked about retaliation, but I heard that they're going to go into effect soon too, I think. But only in response to the tariffs that Trump put on, I think. Whatever, anyways. I know they were excluded from the 10%. But anyways, long story short, why don't we just all like let this dude have the win? Like, oh yeah, you won, dude. You won. And so like now, before you crash the whole economy of the world, let's go back to our regular programming for right now. You know, then we'll figure everything else out later, bring people to the table and negotiate that way. That makes more sense. You know what I mean? Doing all this shit at once was crazy, but I know he was trying to use it as a negotiation tactic. Now, you won your negotiations. So let's go back to our regular programming now.
Boris Brianna.
Jeff, please stand by. We've just learned that the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, will be speaking publicly soon. This also as we await to hear from President Trump. Markets, as you can see on your screen right now, are reacting very positively to this news. Let's bring in CNN's Matt Egan and Richard Quest. Richard, first to you, I wonder what you make of this announcement from the president, given the insistence from some folks in his administration that these tariffs were here to stay.
I think that there's a sort of duopoly of issues taking place. The first is the tariffs and the second is the execution. The tariffs themselves, the president still loves tariffs. So he's going to want to, in some shape or form, bring them back. This is his raison d'etre in terms of economic policy. But he's seen how damaging, and now he says he's got so many countries coming towards him, wanting to negotiate. He wants to give time for that to take place. It all begs the question, why, when they announced the reciprocal tariffs, didn't the president say they take effect in 90 days? You all have 90 days to negotiate. Why did it have to be done this way to get to a result? Let's be clear, there is no more certainty about US trade policy now than there was half an hour ago than before this announcement. There's
two things that it did, okay, because this guy, I know he's totally against the whole concept, but it's not a bad thing completely, because if trade policies were unfair with other countries, evening up the playing field for trade is a good thing. And if people are coming to the table willing to talk, then that's not a bad thing, 100%. I get the way he did it was, I wouldn't have done it the same way, and probably this guy who's an economist probably wouldn't have done it the same way. However, though, if it's bringing people to the table to talk to stop the imbalance of trade inflation, then there's nothing wrong with that 100%. The problem is, it's not about the trade inflation, it's about ego. Like, all this is about ego. It's all about what he wants to look like to everybody else. Now, granted, does the ego benefit the U.S. or negatively impact the U.S.? It's a back and forth, right? But sometimes I kind of don't like to watch these news shows because they're so one-sided. I can see both sides of the factor. I can see where Trump's coming from, and I can see where the negative in it and the positive in it is. Like, so I don't know. Like, and you got to be careful who you talk to about that shit because everybody's so fucking emotional about it. But you know, but let's be real. Like, there was something going on for years. Many countries admitted it. Canada, Mexico, the European Unions all admitted that they were using unfair trade practices against the U.S. Canada admitted it was to protect their markets. Mexico admitted it was to protect their markets to a certain degree, but at the same time said in the same breath that they would drop the tariffs, like specifically not the prime minister, but somebody in one of the providences said he would drop the tariffs to zero in a heartbeat. So it's like, why are there tariffs at all if your markets are this way? You know what I mean? It's that. But then on the European Union side, they literally were saying like, yeah, we were completely unfair, and we understand there's an imbalance, and we're willing to sit down and talk about it. That's the only thing. I just don't understand why Trump's response to that wasn't, okay, let's sit down at the table and talk. I would bring everybody to the table almost instantly. Like, we all got to fly out, talk about this. And if you guys are willing to, you know, stop the imbalance and influx, then like we got something going here. I don't know. Maybe he did go about it the wrong way, right way, because maybe a year from now, maybe we'll all be looking at this drinking like while prices are going down, or, you know, we have a better trade balance between nations. Maybe we'll all be looking at this in a much better way, but I don't know. We'll see. I think that's all I'm gonna watch for this video because I guess I get the message. 90-day tariffs, cool. All right, peace.